Hello, it's Saturday here at the YA Rebels. I'm Kat, subbing in for Kaylee and Sarah. So let's get started.
10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
So the topic today is trunked and abandoned novels. I don't have any completed trunk novels because there's always like this little idea in the back of my head that I might go back and fix the ones that are completed since I've already put so much time into them. But I do have some abandoned novels. And today I will tell you the story of the very first novel I ever attempted to write. It's a good story. I mean, not the story that I wrote, but the story about the story. It's a good story. I started writing this novel probably about 5 years ago, before I was serious about writing, before I knew anything about writing, before I even followed any agent blogs, before I knew what an agent was. I started this novel. It was this high fantasy story with magic and elves and warring factions and a main character who was the chosen one. Her name was Illyria Descarden. No vowel in between the duh and the ka of her last name, just an apostrophe. I was convinced that the more apostrophes and the more vowels and the harder to pronounce, the cooler the name. Her father's name was Drakion, or Dragon, depending on how you pronounce it. She had a friend, her best friend was Salin Romesh. There was a Charlea Akalion. I can't even pronounce these. That's how you knew it was a good name, if you couldn't even pronounce it. And I came up with it, and I can't pronounce it. It's a good name, good solid fantasy name. Hestar Dwervol, Josar Datir, Aria Rana Rox Ra'an. There's an apostrophe, Ron, Ra apostrophe on. I had this great Mary Sue character going for me, and then I had all these fantastic fantasy names. And what am I gonna do story-wise? Well, the plot. The plot. Illyria Descarden is just so effing awesome that she doesn't have to do an apprenticeship like everyone else in this shakily formed magic world. She gets to graduate right out of magic high school and join the King's Guard. And what does the King's Guard do exactly? When your story is based off of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that you and your friends are playing, then naturally they go dungeon crawling. So I ended up with 20,000 words of this Mary Sue fantasy character dungeon crawling and fighting a dragon with people named Chardam Gosrino and Hollandar Svial? What? And then I discovered agent blogs. I found this one post of like high fantasy don'ts, and it was seriously like a checklist for my story. Chosen one, check. Prologue, check. Elves versus humans, check. Mary Sue character, oh, double check. Unpronounceable names, 3 checks and an apostrophe. Anyway, it was at that point that I started realizing how clueless I was. I started following agent blogs, I started reading more, I started studying actual writing craft and not Dungeons and Dragons books. So yeah, I don't think I will ever go back to that story. Well, oh magic D20, should I finish this book? It's a trap. Thanks again, Rebels, for having me back. I hope you all have a great weekend. Bye!